What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode in Season 3 of my Syracuse Dynasty Reboot on NCAA Football 14, and man, what an exciting season it's been so far. Who would have even imagined Syracuse starting off 4-2, but here we are at mid-season with just that record. Star quarterback Melvin Patterson has kept the orange in every game this season and has really provided us a serious spark with the big play potential in both his arm and his legs. But here in the recruiting special, we are focusing on areas that we need to fix moving forward, and the Orange appear to be again shooting for a 15-player recruiting class this season, just because I feel like it provides a bit more challenge to the game. Going after only 2 stars makes Syracuse recruiting very interesting each season, but there are some great gem prospects out there who can elevate this team to where they need to be moving forward. Of course, I will not be introducing them alone, however, and have brought in Franchise Gaming for the 3rd straight year to help me out. Take it away, FG. Glad to have you back again. Pretty exciting board this year.
Damn right, Legion. It feels good to be back for another season. It's great to see the players that I highlighted last year immediately become key starters for the Orange. How about Corey Barnes? That guy has been an absolute monster to this point in the year, leading the Orange in catches and yards. We've also seen some really nice flashes from freshman safety Marquise Leonard, who I really think is going to be a star. I didn't expect a 4-2 start from the Orange, to say the least, but there are still a few holes that the Orange need to fill, especially on defense if they want to hold up against the top teams in the nation. That being said, all 4 players in the spotlight this year are on defense, and we have 2 freshman spotlights this year. You guys were probably expecting a clear-cut replacement for Melvin Patterson to be revealed, but unfortunately we just couldn't find one in this recruiting class, so I guess the Orange will roll with current freshman Sean Day and hope for the best next season. Well, maybe, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, the first player is going to be cornerback Booker McNeil out of Brownwood, Texas. I feel like he is more of a 3-star talent and that Syracuse is really getting a quality player here. McNeil fits the Justin Fernando role where he isn't the biggest guy, but he is very athletic and good in coverage. Plus, he's a freshman and has 3 years to get even better. I feel like McNeil can play inside or outside, but expect him to replace Craig Glover as the dime corner because he is honestly extremely difficult to watch each and every week. McNeil has not gotten a lot of interest and should commit to the Orange very soon. We all know that getting Marquise Leonard a partner in crime was a major priority this year, and I truly believe Syracuse found one in safety Dion Bennett. Bennett is just as rangy and athletic as Leonard, and like Leonard, also stands at 6'2", but the true difference between the two is that Leonard is more of a thumping strong safety, while Bennett is more of your single high coverage safety who can't lay the boom as well. Seriously, imagine Leonard as strong safety and Bennett at free safety together for the next 3 seasons. That is some scary, scary potential. Nonetheless, Bennett is exactly what this team needs, and I'm hopeful that the Orange can bring him in. Next up is the number 1 player on my board, and hopefully Syracuse's board, and that is middle linebacker John Stallings. Stallings is the apparent embodiment of everything that the Orange need on their defense, being a sure tackler, a big hitter, and a stout run defender all in one. If Sanchez Sanders could recreate the perfect player for his defense, it would be John Stallings. Stallings is favoring the Orange right now and will 100% be an instant starter for the next 2 seasons if he does. Seriously, I love Marcus Pitts as well as the next guy, but he is much more natural fit on the outside and will play much better having Stallings around. Really excited to see the new defensive captain next year. And the last prospect is regarded as an athlete in every recruiting service, but Joey Montgomery will definitely play defensive back next season for the Orange because he has great ball skills, is athletic, and elite in coverage.
Hang on, FG. I do not agree with this.
Legion, what position could he possibly play for the Orange next year? Every recruiting database in the country believes he's a defensive back. You can't possibly think that he could play quarterback.
Interesting that you say that, FG, because that is exactly what analysts said about Leonard Robinson coming out of high school. 3 Heisman trophies later, and those critics really ate their words. Robinson is the head coach of the Orange, and you can bet he wants to bring out the potential in Joey Montgomery.
You know what? You've convinced me. So let me introduce you all to quarterback Joey Montgomery. I lied to you guys. He will be the replacement for Melvin Patterson next season, and I am just as excited as you all should be. Words cannot explain this guy's potential. Roll the tape. FG, out! See you next year.
We kept it a secret throughout the entire episode, but there you have it. You have seen Joey Montgomery, a game-changing quarterback prospect for the Orange who even the game itself believes is a corner. And while he has great potential at defensive back, we have a great need for a mobile quarterback with a strong arm, and he fits that prototype perfectly. Right now, I kind of think of him as a Walmart brand Leonard Robinson, so it will be very interesting to see how having him as his coach pays off should he commit to Syracuse. While I can sit here and talk about the potential of Joey Montgomery for the entire episode, we do have other players on the board, and they should definitely be nice additions to a team that is losing a lot of their core next year. I've neglected recruiting a developmental running back for quite some time because of scholarship limitations, and now with Terry Clark graduating, I had to recruit JUCO tailback Justin Lewis. Lewis is a solid player with his 6'2", 196-pound frame, combined with a very similar elusiveness to Terry Clark. While he does have more power to his game than Clark, he does not accelerate as well, but should be a respectable replacement regardless. Good player. Next up, I know it's not huge, but I recruited a fullback, and I'm not lying when I say that he is one of my favorite prospects on the board. Mike Williams has ideal size for fullback at 6 foot, 245 pounds, and blocks extremely well, but he's also athletic enough and a good enough runner to take some handoffs on occasion. I love this man, and honestly can't wait to see him on the field. We already have Corey Barnes and Dallas Young at tight end, but they are primarily receivers, so I wanted more of a balanced tight end and recruited Troy Anderson. Anderson can do a little bit of everything, boasting a 6'5", 249-pound frame and solid athleticism and strength that allow him to have a mixed arsenal of blocking and receiving skills. I really like Anderson and think he is much better than his overall suggests, and he's a freshman. Next up, I have two defensive ends in Rod Harper and Edward Morgan, who are both going to provide depth at end for a few years. Harper is a smaller guy and fits more of the Robert Washington role as a pure rusher who lacks the size to play consistent run defense, while Morgan has the body type and skill set of current freshman Philip Nichols and should be able to develop into a rotational player. All the talk of John Stallings coming in next year has caused linebacker Brandon Prater to fly a bit under the radar. Prater is a good depth piece and combines really good athleticism with a starting ground and skills like tackling and coverage that are developable. That pursuit is not good though, gonna need a bit of work. Solid depth player nonetheless. FG already talked about Booker McNeil, but we're looking for two corners this year, and here Leonard Robinson is targeting his apparent traditional yearly JUCO gem cornerback. This year it is Stephen Jones, who stands at just 5'9", but is athletic enough and good enough at tackling to the point where he can play both nickel and on the outside. With David Reese returning next year too, we will start Jones on the other side and adjust if needed, should he join the Orange. Syracuse is also targeting a scholarship punter because punters are people too. Enough said. Moving on to the committed prospects, we have another deep threat wide receiver in Matt Miller, who is actually a more polished player than Bobby Nixon, who has had a really nice year so far. A scary offense is looking scarier, and hopeful Syracuse commit Joey Montgomery should know that he has a lot of weapons to play with next year. On top of that, Syracuse needed to get some interior line depth with Jeremy Dodd graduating, and found an absolute gem in guard Ben Austin. They've recruited very well on their offensive line, and it is a big reason for their quick improvement. Hopefully Austin can start in a few years. Finally, to wrap it up, I said a strong interior nose tackle would be a priority this year, and I managed to get a commitment from defensive tackle Kyle Bowen, who is mainly being signed for his run-stopping abilities, but I was surprised to see that he is actually a pretty polished rusher too. Great signing by Leonard Robinson and the Orange. And with that, we have gone through all of Syracuse's board, and I hope that you are just as optimistic as I am about the future of this team, especially if we can land a commitment from quarterback Joey Montgomery, which seems like it could come any week now. I cannot wait for next year and beyond, but of course we have to get through this season first. That being said, we are going right back into games next week. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Leave a like and subscribe. And with that, I am Jack, and I am signing out. Have a great day.